Oh, and a right hand, best punch of the fight. Billy Joe says, come on.
Canelo doubled up on that right hook to the body and the head.
Yeah, these are heavy blows from Canelo. He's putting lots into these shots. Billy Joe saying these aren't bothering me.
David Benavidez with his back on the ropes. Oh my goodness. A 7-punch combination. This is why they believe so much in this 20-year-old. Back against the ropes. He is throwing. This is a heavy onslaught by David Benavidez as he is pouring it on Rogelio Medina. A big
Man, it's low-key locked up and we got a banger for y'all today, you feel me? This is a question that we've been wanting the answer to forever, and I think that we've been wanting this fight for a very long time, you know? I am going to break down what I think would happen if David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez were to fight. And here we go. This is what I'm going to say here. For one, we got David Benavidez, you know? He's a young fighter, he's a taller fighter in this fight. He is very high velocity and very aggressive in his fighting style, right? And then you have Canelo. He's a veteran boxer, he's got great head movement, he's fought some of the best, he's won, he has some losses, you feel me? One in particular, Dimitri Bivol. And the reason I point out the Dimitri Bivol loss is because of the method that Dimitri Bivol used to beat him, right? You know, the punches and bunches and the distance and range control. My biggest thing about this fight is we know Canelo, he's the better fighter in this scenario. But as far as that skill set, what I was talking about earlier with Bivol, the punches and bunches, Benavidez is known for that. Benavidez is a very high velocity puncher, and he's able to create openings and opportunities to strike his opponents in all scenarios. You feel me? That's his go-to. That's his biggest pro. He's a very good offensive fighter. So if they were to fight, I would see, you know, a lot of people would think that Canelo would just dominate the fight the whole time. I think this would be a decent fight. Honestly, I think it'd be a pretty back and forth fight. Because for one, David Benavidez presses the issue more offensively, whereas though Canelo Alvarez is a more defensive, conservative fighter, and he picks his punches out more. He doesn't really have a lot of he doesn't punch in high quantity. He punches in 2s and 3s and maybe 4s. But that's because he's trying to leave it as little openings as possible for him to get knocked out, which is smart, yes. But can he do that with that kind of pressure on him? Because as we've seen, when Bivol did what he did with his applying pressure to him, he kind of showed a lot of flaws and weaknesses. But I'm not saying that nowhere on earth and no way in hell that Bivol is on the same level as Benavidez, even though they are similar and closer in skill than people would think. But I'm not saying that they're on the same level, because they're not. You feel me? What I'm gonna say here is that based upon what I know about the two fighters, based upon their fighting styles, I'm gonna say that this is gonna be a lot harder of a matchup than you would think. And let me break it down some more. Okay, so for one, we got Canelo. His head movement is amazing. He's a great defensive boxer. He punches, the small combinations, very calculated punches, accurate most of the times because he really thinks about what he does before he do it. You feel me? He really thinks. But will you be able to think with punches in your face like that? I mean, yes, he's thought about like with punches in his face before, but Benavidez is definitely on a different level as far as offensive boxers. You don't get too many offensive boxers like how Benavidez is. But the thing is, Benavidez, his head movement is really questionable for me, because Canelo could really catch him with an overhand left or right, or catch him right on that button, because he doesn't really move that head when he's coming in for these high velocity punches. That head stays kind of stationary, and I noticed that in a couple of his fights, and it was scaring me. I don't know how these people didn't hit their head, but at the same time, it's hard to even think when you're getting punched. So I can understand that. But is Canelo the type of dog, you feel me? Does he have that dog in him to where he's able to think, and he probably analyzes film very well to where as though he'd be able to time that punch? It's very easy Not saying very easy. I'm not going to say very easy. For Canelo, it would be easier for him to land that overhand right or overhand left when he comes in for those punch combinations. But will he be able to pull it off? And will Benavidez come prepared for that? We have no clue. As you know, Canelo said he'll fight anybody. At first, people thought he was ducking them because he didn't want to fight Mexican fighters. And he basically broke it down. He said, yes, I don't want to fight Mexican fighters because that's where I'm from, but I fight anybody. I'd fight anybody. And Benavidez, he been wanted to fight somebody. You feel me? He wants to fight the best of the best. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, what I'm saying is that with this matchup, the physical attributes definitely go to Benavidez. He's taller, his reach is longer. He's taller and his reach is longer. And I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff. He's younger, taller, reach is longer. He's probably a little bit stronger. I don't know. Canelo's built very short and dense, so I don't know. I can't say that, but I know that both of them punch pretty hard. I think Benavidez probably punches a bit harder. He has a weird frame that allows him to let off a certain amount of power in his punches. And I've noticed that people with his frame hit very hard. As a person who's been in a few fights, I noticed that people with that old ogre frame, like how Tyson Fury has, hit ridiculously hard. And I watch him do it. I'm not just saying what's his name, but we'll get into that another time. I'm gonna break that down in a video. And why they hit that hard and why that frame is pretty good for boxing. But yeah, as you know, this matchup, I'm gonna have to lean further towards Canelo because of the experience that he has. Benavidez doesn't have a lot of high profile fights that I could give him like credit for being super heavy, like super contenders and shit like that. But Canelo, he's fought in a lot of fights. He's fought in Floyd Mayweather, he's fought in Bivol, he's fought a lot of people, Plant, everybody. You feel me? So this fight is going. I'm gonna give it to Canelo. Canelo, he has the more stacked resume. He has the more conservative style, discipline. He's very disciplined. He's got a better defensive style. I think he's the better fighter in this scenario. Even though Benavidez has a lot of pros that could cause Canelo a lot of problems. It could definitely cause Canelo problems. I'm not even gonna hold you. This fight could be stopped early. It could be. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and end it here, and we might get a part 2 of this, to be honest. I got a lot more for y'all, but not a whole lot of time to talk. You feel me? So yeah. Look out for part 2. And this is part 1 of the breakdown. And I think Canelo is gonna win so far. And we out, man.